What if the healthy snack you've been eating every single day is quietly flooding your body with industrial seed oils, gut-wrecking sweeteners, and chemical binders that don't belong anywhere near food? Most granola bars aren't health food. They're a chemistry experiment wrapped in craft paper and nature photography. We're exposing 9 of them and handing you the 4 that are actually made from real ingredients. The 9 bars to avoid. 9. Quaker Chewy Granola Bars. The bar that grew up in every American lunchbox, the after-school snack, the soccer practice staple. Quaker Chewy is so embedded in childhood food memory that most people have never once questioned it. That familiarity is the problem. Flip the wrapper. Sugar is the second ingredient. High fructose corn syrup is the 4th. Combined, they deliver 7 to 10 grams of sugar per bar in a 24-gram package. That's over a third of the bar's weight in sugar. Before you account for the maltodextrin also on the list, a highly processed starch that behaves like sugar in the bloodstream but doesn't register as sugar on the label. The oats are real, but they're surrounded by soybean oil, glycerin, fructose, and caramel color, a processing byproduct linked in some studies to carcinogenic compounds when produced through ammonia treatment. Quaker doesn't disclose which caramel color process they use. The whole grain stamp on the front is technically accurate. It's also deeply misleading. Whole grain status doesn't neutralize the sugar load wrapped around it. Quaker Chewy is what you give a child when you want them to think they're not eating candy. They are eating candy. 8. Nature Valley Crunchy Bars. 2 bars per pouch. That familiar green packaging. The crunch so aggressive it sprays crumbs across a 3-foot radius every single time. Nature Valley built its identity around rugged outdoor imagery. Trails, mountains, people doing things outside. The branding says nature. The ingredient list says factory. Sugar is the second ingredient. Canola oil follows. Refined, processed, and stripped of any naturally occurring nutrients. Then oat flour, which is different from whole rolled oats. It's a more processed form that digests faster and drives a quicker blood sugar response. Each pouch contains 2 bars, which the packaging presents as a single serving suggestion. 2 bars deliver 190 calories, 12 grams of sugar, and 6 grams of fat from refined canola and soybean oil. For something marketed as a wholesome trail snack, that macronutrient profile belongs in the candy aisle. General Mills owns Nature Valley. In 2012, a lawsuit challenged the brand's 100% natural claim because of the presence of highly processed ingredients, including maltodextrin and high fructose corn syrup in certain varieties. General Mills settled. The lawsuit is public record. The natural language continues. 7. Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Bars. The name does a lot of work. Nutri, grain, both words implying something functional, something earned, something your body needs. What your body is actually getting, a soft pastry. The filling, strawberry, blueberry, apple, cinnamon, sounds like fruit. The ingredient list tells a different story. Fruit puree concentrate appears, yes, but after corn syrup, sugar, and high fructose corn syrup. 3 separate sugar sources before the fruit. The filling is a sweetened jam analog, not fruit. The outer layer is made from enriched flour. Refined white flour with synthetic vitamins added back after processing strips the natural ones out. Enriched flour digests like sugar. It spikes blood glucose rapidly, triggering insulin release, followed by the energy crash that makes you reach for another bar 45 minutes later. At 12 grams of sugar and only 2 grams of protein per bar, Nutri-Grain provides no meaningful satiety. It's a blood sugar event disguised as breakfast. For parents putting these in school lunches under the belief they're packing something nutritious, the marketing is working exactly as intended. The nutrition isn't. 6. Cascadian Farm Organic Granola Bars. This is where it gets more frustrating, because Cascadian Farm buyers are doing everything right. Reading labels, choosing organic, paying more, making a deliberate health decision, and the bar still fails them. USDA organic certification covers how the oats, sugarcane, and other crops were grown. It says nothing about the processing, the sugar load, or the overall nutritional impact of what ends up in the wrapper. Cascadian Farm bars contain 10 to 13 grams of sugar per serving, sourced from organic cane sugar, organic brown rice syrup, and organic tapioca syrup. 3 separate organic sweeteners stacked together. Organic brown rice syrup has a glycemic index of approximately 98. That's higher than table sugar, which sits at 65. Soy lecithin, palm oil, and natural flavors round out an ingredient list that reads cleaner than Quaker Chewy, but delivers a nearly identical metabolic outcome. The organic label adds cost. It doesn't add protection, and for consumers who paid the premium specifically because they believed organic meant better for their body, that gap is a meaningful betrayal. Organic purity marketed, sugar spike delivered. More than 90% of the people watching this video right now are not subscribed. Most people have been grabbing granola bars their whole lives thinking they were making the smart choice. And this video is changing that. That story deserves to reach more people. If you think it matters, subscribe and share this with one person who keeps a box of granola bars in their pantry. Hit the bell so you catch what's coming next. Now, let's continue. 5. Special K protein bars. Kellogg's built Special K around one idea: weight management for women, smaller portions, controlled calories, the vague implication that eating Special K products was a disciplined, responsible choice. The protein bars extended that positioning into the snack space. 12 grams of protein, controlled calories, the Special K seal of approval. The protein comes from soy protein isolate, the cheapest commercial protein source available. Heavily processed, with a bioavailability profile that trails whey, egg, and even pea protein in peer-reviewed comparison studies. Studies have also raised questions about high soy isoflavone intake and hormonal disruption, particularly with long-term daily consumption. The bars are sweetened with sugar, corn syrup, and fructose. 3 sugars, not 1. Soybean oil is the primary fat. Carrageenan, a seaweed-derived thickener with documented links to gut inflammation in animal studies, appears as a binding agent. At 190 calories with 12 grams of soy protein and multiple sugar sources, Special K protein bars are not a weight management tool. They're a moderate-calorie candy bar with a Diet Brands endorsement. For women using these daily as part of a genuine health strategy, the soy protein quality, hormonal considerations, and sugar stack deserve a clearer conversation than the packaging ever starts. 4. Cliff Kid Z-Bar. Cliff Bar made for children, organic, colorful, portioned smaller. Everything about the Z-Bar signals that someone thought carefully about what goes into a child's body. The first ingredient is organic brown rice syrup. That is sugar. A sugar with a glycemic index of 98, higher than table sugar. It's the first and primary ingredient in a bar designed for children's snacking. Each Z-bar contains 11 to 12 grams of sugar in a 36-gram bar. That's 33% of the bar's weight in sugar from the primary ingredient alone, before accounting for the organic cane sugar also listed. Soy protein isolate provides 3 grams of protein, a negligible amount that doesn't meaningfully offset the sugar load in terms of glycemic impact. The organic certification is real. The portion size is smaller, but a smaller bar delivering 33% sugar by weight from a high glycemic source, marketed specifically for children, is not a responsible product regardless of the organic stamp. Children's metabolisms are not protected by organic certification. Their developing insulin response doesn't distinguish between organic rice syrup and conventional high fructose corn syrup. Organic parental trust marketed, high glycemic sugar load delivered to children. 3. Kind breakfast bars. Kind already appeared on our protein bar list for its core product line. The breakfast bar deserves its own entry because it operates a separate deception. The breakfast bar is positioned as a morning meal. Oats, quinoa, whole grain goodness, substantial enough to replace breakfast, wholesome enough to start a day on. Sugar is the second ingredient. Vegetable glycerin, a sugar alcohol, is the fourth. Glucose syrup appears under the alias tapioca syrup. 3 separate sweetening agents in a breakfast product. The oats exist. The quinoa exists, but they're bound together with a sweetening system sophisticated enough to make the bar palatable, while technically allowing Kind to call it a whole grain product. At 6 grams of protein and 12 grams of sugar, the Kind breakfast bar will produce a blood sugar peak and subsequent crash reliably within 60 to 90 minutes of consumption. Exactly the wrong outcome for sustained morning energy and focus. The bar that replaces breakfast should support cognitive performance for the first half of the day. This one sets up the 10 a.m. hunger crash with precision. Breakfast fuel marketed, blood sugar roller coaster delivered. 2. Larabar Alt. Protein bar Larabar earns a place on our worth buying list for its original whole food line. The alt protein bar, it's a high-protein extension, is a different product built on different logic and deserves separate scrutiny. The alt bar added protein to the Larabar formula using pea protein isolate and sunflower protein. Not inherently bad choices, but to make the bar palatable at higher protein concentrations, Mars, Larabar's parent company, introduced chicory root fiber as a primary bulking agent. Chicory root fiber, inulin, is a prebiotic fiber with legitimate health benefits at moderate doses. At the concentrations found in the alt bar, it is one of the most reliable gas and bloating triggers in processed food. Clinical dietitians regularly flag inulin overconsumption as a primary driver of IBS flare-ups. The protein content, 11 grams, is modest for a bar positioning itself against 20-gram competitors. The chicory root load to achieve that protein in an edible texture creates digestive consequences that the packaging does not warn about. Larabar's original simplicity worked because it didn't try to engineer outcomes. The alt bar tried to engineer a high-protein whole food product, and the engineering compromised what made Larabar worth buying in the first place. Whole food reputation borrowed, gut disruption delivered. 1. Fiber. 1 chewy bars fiber. 1 solved a real problem. Americans don't get enough dietary fiber. The bars deliver 9 grams of fiber per serving, a meaningful contribution to the recommended daily 25 to 38 grams. The method of delivery is the issue. The fiber comes almost entirely from chicory root extract, the same inulin discussed above, at even higher concentrations. 9 grams of chicory root inulin in a single bar is enough to cause significant bloating, cramping, and gastrointestinal distress in the majority of people who consume it, particularly those with any underlying gut sensitivity. The bar is sweetened with sugar, corn syrup, and fructose, the same triple sugar stack found across this list. Hydrogenated oils appear as a fat source. Carrageenan is used as a binder. General Mills markets Fiber One as a digestive health product, something you eat to support your gut. The chicory root causes gut distress in sensitive individuals. The hydrogenated oils contribute to systemic inflammation. The triple sugar stack undermines any metabolic benefit the fiber might otherwise provide. The cruelest part, people experiencing bloating and cramping after eating. Fiber One bars often blame their own digestive systems. They don't blame the bar, they don't read the chicory root concentration on the label. They just think they have a sensitive stomach. You don't have a sensitive stomach. You ate 9 grams of chicory root inulin wrapped in corn syrup. Gut health marketed, gut disruption delivered. The 4 worth buying. 1. RX bar, original line. Already covered in our protein bar script for its post-Kellogg's complications. But the core original formula still stands as one of the most honest products in the entire bar category. 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates. No hidden sweeteners, no gums, no synthetic anything. For a granola-adjacent whole food bar, the protein-to-sugar ratio is genuinely competitive. 12 grams of protein against 13 grams of sugar from dates, a whole food source that carries fiber and potassium alongside its natural sugars, blunting the glycemic impact compared to isolated fructose or rice syrup. The texture is dense and chewy in a way that creates actual satiety, because the fat from nuts and the protein from egg whites trigger fullness hormones in ways that oat and syrup bars don't. It's not perfect. The date sugar load is real, but for a bar you can eat without reading a chemistry glossary, RX Bar's original line remains a benchmark the category has failed to surpass. 2. Larabar, original line. Set it on the protein bar list. Saying it again here because it belongs on every list that asks what a real food bar looks like. 2 to 4 ingredients: dates, nuts, unsweetened fruit. Nothing extracted, isolated, or synthesized. The fiber is intact because nothing has been processed out. The fat is whole because the nuts haven't been pressed into oil. The sweetness is fruit because no engineer needed to improve on it. 4 to 6 grams of protein, not a recovery tool, not a meal replacement. A whole food snack that happens to be shelf-stable and portable, which is exactly what a granola bar was always supposed to be before the category decided it needed to also be a candy bar, a weight loss product, a fiber supplement, and a protein shake simultaneously. Larabar never tried to be all of those things. That restraint is why it works. 3. 88 Acres Granola Bars. 88 Acres operates out of Boston and deserves far more shelf space than it currently occupies. The bars are seed-based. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and sesame seeds form the base instead of oats. That distinction matters for the growing number of people with gluten sensitivity or oat intolerance, but it also creates a nutritional profile that outperforms most oat-based competitors. Higher protein, higher healthy fat, more diverse micronutrients. Sweetener, organic coconut sugar, and honey. Both real food sources, neither extracted through industrial processing. The glycemic impact is lower than rice syrup or corn syrup while delivering actual flavor complexity. Coconut sugar has a mild caramel note that makes the bars genuinely pleasant without needing artificial flavor compounds. No soy, no gluten, no refined oils, no gums. Third-party allergen tested on dedicated equipment. At 6 to 8 grams of protein and 8 grams of sugar per bar, 88 Acres delivers a macronutrient ratio that sustains energy without a spike and crash cycle. The fat from seeds provides slow-burning fuel. The fiber is intact and genuinely digestive rather than symptom-inducing. For anyone navigating allergies, sensitivities, or simply trying to find a bar that doesn't require a biochemistry background to evaluate, 88 Acres is the clearest yes in the granola bar aisle. 4. Thunderbird Real Food Bars. Thunderbird makes bars that look rustic because the ingredients are rustic. Whole pecans you can see, actual dried fig pieces, hemp seeds that haven't been isolated or processed into powder. The sweetener is dates and fruit. No added sugar of any kind in most varieties. The fat comes from whole nuts and seeds. The protein, 5 to 7 grams, comes from hemp seeds, almonds, and cashews, informs your body recognizes and processes efficiently. Every ingredient is certified organic. The bars are non-GMO verified. Sourcing is disclosed by region for primary ingredients. What Thunderbird does that almost no bar manufacturer does, it treats whole food ingredients as the feature, not the base to be optimized. The pecan isn't there to contribute to a protein number. It's there because it's a pecan, and pecans are nutritionally dense and delicious. That philosophy, food first, label second, produces bars that taste like something made in a kitchen rather than extruded from a factory. Dense, slightly crumbly, genuinely satisfying in the way that whole food fat and fiber always are. No sugar spike, no crash. No ingredient you need to look up. Just food, doing what food is supposed to do. 9 bars selling you the idea of healthy. 4 bars actually delivering it. The granola bar aisle looks different now. Trust the label that has nothing to hide.